I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, My Name Hinders My Career. Well, obviously we're going to talk about career today. I've got an email here from a viewer. I think it's a great email because it brings up something a lot of people struggle with when they're trying to break through their own fears and limitations in order to become the person they're meant to be. And this particular viewer, he has a passion to become a broadcast journalist, but he has a Muslim name, and so he has this limiting belief that he's not going to be able to find a job, or people are prejudiced because of his Muslim name. So, because there can be all kinds of things that because limiting beliefs, you could say, well, in this particular case, this guy says, well, my name is the reason why I can't get the job that I want. Or at least this is what he believes is the reason that he can't get the job that he really wants. So other people might say, well, I don't have the background, I don't have the education, I don't have the looks, I don't have the talent, I don't have this, I don't have that, I didn't grow up in the right kind of household, I didn't go to the right kind of school, I don't have time to do that, no one will ever hire me. I mean, these are the kind of things that we psych ourselves out. And if you've got a lot of people in your life who are also not living at their full potential, or who maybe have settled and are working jobs that they really hate or that suck, and then they hear that you're going to go off and pursue your dreams and become the kind of person that you've always wanted to be, typically what you'll see a lot of times is, what you got to remember about that situation is that this is so fascinating, and I learned this from a network chiropractic doctor years ago. When you are connected to a part of your own personality, like you really own something, like say you're really comfortable at expressing your anger, not in a way where you project it on people, where you're just very firm and stern, you're confident, you speak from your heart, and you're around other people that are meek, they don't feel the same level of confidence that you do to live and speak their truth. They'll snicker at you, they'll cut you down, they'll put you down, they'll say you shouldn't talk that way, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Because what happens basically is you become like a giant mirror, a giant reflection back to them. Because if you're so successful, then it's a reflection back to them of how they're not successful. And that's very uncomfortable and it's very painful. I remember years ago when I was in real estate and I was going through all of these changes, and I was starting to realize that my heart was no longer in real estate, and I started gravitating towards becoming a full-time life coach, even though I didn't realize it at the time. But a lot of the people that worked for me, they didn't like that. They didn't like me going off in a new direction, because obviously it was a threat to them, to their livelihood, because they depended upon me for leads or business contacts or whatever it happened to be. And so I had to put up with a lot of shit. And as I grew and I became a better person, a better man, there were just people and relationships that were in my business and in my life that were just not healthy, and they were toxic. It's like, so anytime I expressed myself and I said, this is what I'm going to do, because I have really big plans and a really big vision for my life, and I would hear stuff like, to my face, some of the guys that work for me are like, oh, I think that's great, yeah. And then behind my back, they're like, he's a fucking idiot, what a douchebag, what's he thinking, he'll never do that, he'll never pull it off, what an egomaniac, who does he think he is if he can do those kinds of things? And so that was the kind of shit that I had to deal with. And so slowly over time, I started moving some of those people out of my company. And then with changes in the market and stuff, I got to a place in my business where our business model was based upon the real estate market being a buyer's market. Well, when things appreciated so dramatically, our average sales price that our advertising brought in was about $189,000, $200,000 type houses. Now, what was interesting is within a 6-month period, those same homes appreciated to about $300,000 because the oversaturation with buyers and really cheap money. And so what happened was a lot of our buyers, first-time home buyers, got priced right out of the market. And so here I was faced with a situation. I either had to change my business model and adapt to the business conditions, or decide to say, you know what, I've made a shitload of money in the business, I've had a great time, and I'm fucking getting out. And what I ended up, because I always ask myself this question, because I've learned over the past 43 years of my life that sometimes you just don't have the same level of internal enthusiasm that you once had for a career or a job or a business, because we're always growing, we're always evolving. And think about this. You look at the people that maybe you hung out with just 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years ago. If you look back on your life, there's lots of people that have come and gone. And if you're a little older and you've had some life experience, you know that it's very rare these days for somebody to go and work for a company and stay at that company their whole life. Changing jobs is something that's actually pretty common these days, whereas 30, 40, 50 years ago, people kind of looked down on it when they saw somebody changing jobs. And like for me, when the internal enthusiasm was gone for a job or gone for a business, I started looking to where my curiosity was and moving in that direction. And so I'm always asking myself, if I could do anything else, would I want to do what I'm doing now, or would I rather do something else? In other words, is there something out there that's more emotionally compelling to me? As long as the answer is no, I continue doing what I'm doing. And so I've got let's go through this guy's email here. So I've got a couple quotes that I want to share with you. The first one is, never give up on the things that make you smile. And the other one, this is from Jerry Weitzman. And the quote is, sometimes you got to create what you want to be a part of. So he says, Dear Coach, I've been researching your work for about a year now, and your video newsletters have become a part of my daily routine. I've recently graduated from college, and I'm still looking for a job. My degree is in broadcast journalism. I want to either work in the sports industry or news, and I have a passion for both. The problem is, so this is his belief that he's saying, well, this is why I can't get a job. He says, the problem is that I have a Muslim name, and I think that is a big reason why I'm having trouble looking for a job. As you may know, in the news business, the on-air talent work as the faces of the organization. I've got a bunch of my friends that work in the industry. I know all about that. I've got a really good buddy of mine. He's a weatherman and a very well-known station up in Philadelphia. I got other friends at Orlando that are on the air all the time, and I've spent plenty of time on television and in the studio doing live TV, so I know all about the business, the ins and outs, got to know station managers of many stations, sales managers, so I know how TV stations work, and I know a lot about the broadcast business. So he says, I've heard from a few people that having a Muslim name can turn some employers off or can result in backlash from particular communities. I can't disagree with that statement. I'm sure there's some people that aren't going to like you because you're Muslim name. There's some people that don't like me because I got a fucking shaved head or I got growth or I fucking cuss all the time. But I'm real and I tell it like it is. My attitude is, just like Mick Jagger said, fuck them if they can't take a joke. Really, if people don't like what I say in my videos, they don't have to be there. They can go and subscribe to somebody else's channel who they do like how they talk. And that's the beauty of the internet, is it just like with YouTube, really, it's all, if you don't like it, there's plenty of other channels that you can go watch. So he says, I know for sure this is what I want to do in life, and I've done many internships and school activities that reaffirmed this. You're always telling us viewers that it's important that a person does something they have a passion for. Yeah, because if you don't choose something you have a passion for, you'll never be really good at it. You won't do the extra things, the special things that you need to do in order to become great at it. And I say this a lot. Repetition is the mother of skill. Just like the great Aristotle said thousands of years ago, excellence is not a singular act. It is a habit. And so if you're going into broadcast journalism, while you're looking for a job, what you should be doing is you should have a camera. It doesn't cost you much. You can even use the camera in your cell phone if you want. Start recording yourself doing news reports and get good at it and practice at it. Put together a script. Get used to using things on a teleprompter. You don't have a teleprompter, you can put it on your computer screen and have your camera right above your computer, so when you're actually looking at the camera, you can be reading underneath what's on the TV screen, because that's basically what a teleprompter is. And I've done a lot of teleprompter reading as well. And so while you're looking for a job, you can be practicing your craft. Because if you want to become great at it, it's just like the Maya Angelou quote that I shared a couple weeks ago. The idea is to do something you have a passion for and focus on becoming, not on making money, but becoming really great at what it is you love. And becoming so great that other people can't take their eyes off of you. And so in the meantime, you should be practicing your craft. You should be practicing getting good on camera. I mean, at this point, like these little YouTube videos I've done probably 1,200 videos. And obviously, the more I do, the better I get, and the more diverse topics I get. I mean, repetition is the mother of skill. And my goal with these is to try to teach every little piece of wisdom that I know in these videos that are related to what the viewer happens to be asking about in order to give them the best possible chance to succeed. And if they need a little bit of help, they can hire me or they can book a phone session with me, because my website is all about a self-help website. I don't focus on making money. I focus on adding value. And that's why I say all the time, even if you think I'm a total jackass, you don't have to believe anything I say. Go out and apply it, because the stuff that I teach works. I've been using this shit for multiple decades here in my life, and I've been teaching this stuff, and I've been studying self-help since I was a teenager. I love this stuff. I've always, because of the family background I came from, I had to learn a lot of this stuff on my own that a normal, healthy family the children wouldn't have to learn these things. Because they would have been taught them naturally. So he says, something that excites and motivates them, and this motivates me to be a broadcast journalist. I don't want to be a stereotypical Muslim Middle Eastern American. Well, whatever that happens to be. He says, I'm pursuing this career path because I want to set examples and become a role model for young people in my own community. I want to break through stereotypes and barriers. I can't see myself being happy by doing something else or taking the safe route. Awesome. I love the fact that you figured out what you want to do. He says, I figured since you have done a lot of hiring and are a business owner, you would understand better than most people. What is your suggestion? Well, like I was saying a minute ago, repetition is the mother of skill. You are what you do repeatedly. And the bottom line is, if you want to become really awesome on camera, well, what do you need to practice at? Being on camera. And the great thing about with digital cameras, or like I've got a little iPhone here, and it's got a high-def camera in it, and you can sit there and you can film yourself. You can set it on a table and just start recording and talk into it and cut it and use Apple iMovie. I mean, you can even, I think it's $5 to download Apple iMovie app for this thing. And you can make little YouTube videos for yourself. You can do you can go, if you've got favorite sports teams, I mean, the idea, if you know where there are going to be players that play the kind of sports that you're interested in, go see if you can do a quick 1 or 2 minute interview, just a little blurb holding your phone up, just saying, hey, if you're going to give a piece of advice to somebody that wants to become a great baseball player or a great football player, whatever it happens to be, ask some great questions that people want to know about. I'm sure if you're in broadcast journalism, there's been plenty of times you've been watching sports and you see the broadcaster ask the same fucking stupid, idiotic questions, and the athletes look at the broadcaster like, come on, man, next question. It's like, what athletes appreciate more than anything is a conscientious journalist who actually asks good questions that they really want to answer. Good, useful questions. And so if you're into self-help, and you're going to be around athletes or very successful people covering whatever sports it is that you want to cover, get to know these guys. Get out there, and if they're going to have autograph signings or just something simple, hey, man, can I have 5 minutes of your time? I'm a broadcast journalism major, and I got a little YouTube channel. I just like to get a quick video with my cell phone here and ask you 1 or 2 quick questions about how you got to be so successful, or any advice or piece of wisdom that you could give somebody that's, maybe 5 or 10 years away from being in a position to have the kind of career that you've got now. What would be your best piece of advice? Simple, great stuff like that the person watching the video would say, wow, that gives you some real insight into my favorite athlete's personality, but I also learned something about him that I can apply in my job or my own career, or the psychology of his mindset that he uses to propel himself forward. That's one of the things I love about NFL Network, is that because they have a bunch of former athletes, coaches, retired athletes and coaches on there that have actually played in the NFL or coached in the NFL. And so they do a good job of, like, there's another documentary called A Football Life. And so you see all the struggles that these guys go through, because a lot of times when you see people on TV, you think, oh, they're great, they're this or that, they're so brilliant, so amazing, they were born this way. But nobody sees all the crap that they go into in order to get there. Like one of my favorite players for the Miami Dolphins, his name is Cameron Wake. And he didn't get drafted. And I think that he got on as an undrafted rookie, and he got cut. And I think he tried out for 2 or 3 teams. Every team cut him. And so he ended up going to the Canadian Football League. And he played for, 2 or 3 years there in the Canadian Football League. And he won Defensive Player of the Year, I think, 1 or 2 different times. And so the Miami Dolphins brought him down and gave him a chance. And he's a fucking sack master. And they just gave him, I think it was a $40 million contract in the offseason. He's gone to the Pro Bowl, I think, twice now. And I remember it was a year or 2 ago, I was tweeting with him on Twitter, and I said something to him, and he responded back. And he was just talking about his journey. And he said, from the couch to the Pro Bowl. I mean, because there literally was a moment where he was sitting on the couch and contemplating what he was going to do to go get a job before the Canadian Football League happened to call and give him his shot. And then he went up there and he proved himself in that. And then he got the attention of the NFL. Why? Because he became really fucking awesome at what he does, being a defensive end, being a pass rusher, and getting to the quarterback. He led by example, and he demonstrated that he had the talent. Miami Dolphins gave him a chance. He came down. He did the same fucking thing. And I like following him on Twitter because he is totally dead serious, dedicated about eating right, taking care of his body, and being in the absolute best possible shape. He prepares himself better than most other players do because he's got a chip on his shoulder, because he got rejected. He had to suffer through several years early in his career not really making much money, and he now finally, after 5-6 years, just got the big fucking payday. And so guys like that inspire me. I like listening to what they have to say because you can pick up the psychology and their mindset of what they use to propel themselves forward when things don't go their way. So like I said, you don't need to wait to get a job or to get hired. The idea is, all the equipment and stuff that I have for $4,000 or $5,000, you can get a really kick-ass camera, great mic, great lighting equipment, nice background with your own logo. And my advice to you, the best thing you can do is start blogging. Get a WordPress blog. It's really fucking easy. Have a WordPress blog. Start writing articles about the things that you're passionate about right now. You don't need to wait until you get a job from somebody. You can start being a journalism major right now. I'm going to let you in a little secret. There are 1 billion monthly unique viewers on YouTube all over the fucking world. And think about it. It doesn't cost you anything to start a YouTube channel. You can start right now, sign up, and start uploading videos about things that you're passionate about, and start doing your own news reports. And as your channel becomes more popular, you can send links to your prospective employer saying, here's some of the, I'm already blogging, I'm already doing my own videos, and send them some of your work. There was it was all over the national media I think it was last week, about a week and a half ago. There was a guy, just got hired right out of college for a TV station, and he was nervous as shit. And so as they're about to introduce him, I guess he didn't realize that they were on or that his mic was on. And he said, oh, fuck. And he's saying that to himself. And this is like live TV on one of the major networks. And then, so she introduces him, this girl introduces him, and it was just a fucking train wreck. He looked like a dude that had never looked into a camera and practiced at all. He was not comfortable, and he hadn't done this before, and just because he was not prepared. And so not only did he curse, but they fired him, obviously, because of it, because he sucked on air, and he cursed on air, which I think the FCC fined you for that. But the beauty of YouTube is you can say whatever you want. As long as you're not impinging upon the freedom of other people or posting like pornography or other stuff in there, you can pretty much say whatever the hell it is that you want. It's totally wide open. And as your channel becomes more popular, your videos will get higher and higher ranking, and you'll build an audience. And over the course of 3 or 4 years, you can build a very sizable audience. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. Go and start speaking and doing reports about the things that you're passionate about. Sleep in stay at your parents' house if you have to for a couple of years until you get your business off the ground. But that's what I do. Start a WordPress website, start blogging about it, start doing YouTube videos about it, and talk about the things that you are really passionate about. Write articles about the people and the players that you have a passion for, or the sports that you have a passion for, and get feedback from your viewers, and write about the topics that they have interest in as well. Let them write in or suggest stories and things of that nature. And my recommendation for you is that we could spend, I would say, book a 1-hour phone session with me, and I will teach you exactly what I do and how I do it. I will share my business model and teach you how to duplicate exactly what I do. It doesn't have to be broadcast journalism. You could be an attorney. You could be a real estate person. If you have any kind of knowledge or wisdom that you can talk about or that you can share about, I can teach you how to synthesize that into a great business where you can generate all your own leads. I don't spend any money in advertising. When I was in real estate, I used to spend $50,000 a month on infomercials and TV commercial 30-second spots and like the evening news and things of that nature. And that's what's so beautiful. It's like when I started my business, all the technology that I use to communicate with people didn't even exist. YouTube hadn't even been started yet. And like the capabilities that I have in my WordPress site, that stuff didn't even exist back then. And so like the way I look at it is, I mean, if you're going to go work for somebody else and have a career with them, I mean, think about this. If you're going to spend 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years before you get to the point where you get a nice big fat contract, because some of the other, like I had a lot of friends that used to work for different Fox affiliates, they usually hire broadcast people right out of college because they can pay them nothing. I mean, so think about this. If you're going to spend 4 or 5 years working for somebody else, why not take a bullshit job where you can make enough money, stay at your parents' house, it'll pay your bills, and you can build your journalism website and your YouTube channel in your basement. And it'll take several years, but between ads and write books, I mean, like I said, I know exactly what you need to do in order to be successful. So go to my website right now, click the products tab, and book a paid phone coaching session, and let me spend 1 hour with you and help you and point you in the right direction, because you can write your own ticket. You don't need the networks anymore. You don't need the fucking newspapers anymore. You don't need the filter of all that bullshit. You can go right to the viewers, and Google and YouTube will load your website up in your YouTube channel. They'll find all your customers and all of your viewers for you totally for free, just for creating great content. I will talk to you soon.